In this question, we have x plus y is equal to m, and we have to transpose for x. That means we want x by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. So the first method we're going to look at is what we do to one side of the equal sign, we must do to the other side to keep things balanced. Now, in order to get x by itself, we need to get rid of this y that's next to it. So in order to get rid of the y, we must take away y on the left-hand side. And we must also do the same thing to the right-hand side. So you can clearly see that we added a negative y to the left-hand side. So we must do the same thing to the right-hand side and add a negative y. Now this positive y, take away this y, would give you 0. And the only thing will remain is this x. And that would be your answer. Now in this alternative method, what we're going to do is take this y, and we're going to look at the sign that's in front of it, which is positive, and we are going to carry it across the equal sign. Now the operation between the x and the y is not multiplication. So the y would not go underneath the m, and the operation turn to division. So what's going to happen is the positive y is going to go across the equal sign, and the sign in front of it will change from positive to negative. And that would be your answer. Now let's like to show visually how we move things across the equal sign. So that's your answer here. Now you can write the negative y in front of the m. You just have to bear in mind that the sign in front of the m is a positive sign. So now I'll just rearrange these two things and show you an alternative way of writing the answer. And this is your alternative way of writing the answer. These two things mean the same. M take away y is the same as negative y plus m. So in this question, we have w take away y is equal to n, and we want to make y the subject of the formula, which simply means to transpose for y or find y. So that will mean I'll have to get rid of this w and this negative sign in front of the y, so that I'll have positive y by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. So my first objective would be to get rid of this w here, so I can simply take away w on both sides of the equal sign. So you can clearly see that I have negative w on the left hand side, and I've added a negative w on the right hand side. So whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I do to the other side to keep things balanced. So what I can do is write this negative w next to this w, so you can clearly see I'll have w take away w, which will give you 0. So now you can see the w take away w will give you 0, and you'll remain with negative y on the left hand side. Now the question was to make y the subject of the formula and not negative y. So we have a problem here still. We have to get rid of this negative sign in front of the y. So always remember that the sign in front of a number is part of that number. So you cannot just separate the negative sign from in front of this y. So the method we're going to use is to multiply both sides of the equal sign by negative 1. And that's how we'll get rid of the negative sign in front of the y. So you can clearly see that negative 1 times negative y, and negative multiplied by negative would give you a positive answer. So we'll get positive y. And negative 1 multiplied by positive n would give you negative n. And negative 1 multiplied by negative w, multiplying two negatives, you're going to get a positive answer. So you'll get positive w. And now this is your answer. So in the alternative method, the easiest thing to do is carry the negative y across, on this side and it will turn to positive, and bring the positive n across on this side and it will turn to negative. So let's see how that will be. So a w remains on this side, the n comes across and turns negative, and the y goes to the other side and turns positive. Now let me show you visually how I move things around. So because the y is by itself on this side of the equal sign, it's not necessary to write the positive sign, it's understood. So we can leave out the positive sign and just write the y by itself. And that's your answer. So in this question we have negative p times y, take away x is equal to m, and we want to transpose for y. Now seeing that we want to get y by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side, that means we have to move both the negative x and this negative p across to the right hand side of the equal sign. So the first thing I have to do is to move this negative x across the equal sign. I cannot interfere with this negative p until I've dealt with this negative x here. So I'll get py is equal to positive m, and when the negative x goes across, the sign will change to positive. Now the operation between the negative p and the y is multiplication. So when this negative p goes across the equal sign, the operation will change to division and will go underneath the m plus x. Now the sign in front of the p would not change because what is happening here is the operation changing from multiplication to division. So you'll get y is equal to m plus x divided by negative p, and that would be your answer. Now I'd just like to show visually what took place when we move stuff across the equal sign. And that's your answer.